Hi there, we have reached the demonstration portion of our program, and what I'm going to show you just on a little scrap of linen fabric is how to create a needle lace edge and attach a finger loop braid to it. So I've got my beeswax. This is a 35-2 Burnley and Trowbridge linen thread, and I have threaded my needle and waxed my thread. And if you've never waxed linen thread before, all you do is just run your linen thread over the beeswax, sort of holding it in place a couple of times. I do this 3 or 4 times. And I've just done a single thread, so it's not doubled. What you're going to do then is you're going to either, as a left-hander, I'm going to be working from left to right. Right-handers, you probably will work right to left. I'm coming from the back of my fabric, pretty close to the edge, and I'm pulling until my knot hits the back. I'm going to zoom in just a bit. Then right next to where the thread is coming out of the fabric, close to the edge, I'm going to put my needle in front to back, and then I'm going to wrap my needle around the back of, or wrap my thread around the back of my needle. So left-handers, you will wrap from a clockwise direction, from left to right. Right-handers, you will wrap counterclockwise from right to left. You get a double stitch in that first stitch, so you don't have to do 2 in a row for that first stitch. The next one, come over 1/4 of an inch, wrap around the back of your needle. And pull, trying not to catch the thread on your fabric. And what you're doing is leaving just a little bit of a bump there. See that little bump? Right next to that stitch, make another stitch and pull. Like that. You just keep doing that. So, little space, 2 stitches. Little space, 2 stitches. Basically, this is a buttonhole stitch. Sorry guys, this is a very awkward angle to work from, so there we go. Switch to my right hand. And you just do that stitch all the way across your piece that you're going to work with. Like that. So just keep doing 2 stitch space, 2 stitch space. When you're done, it will look something like this. So I've gone all the way across. Now, when you do your next row, instead of starting to go back in the other direction, just flip your fabric over and begin the next row going in the same direction. So instead of anchoring your thread to your fabric, you're going to be anchoring to the loops. So taking your needle and sliding it between the fabric and the loop, slide it in, wrap behind, and you make a little loop there and do that twice, making sure that your thread is behind your needle. So now I have 2 loops. Go to the next. Now I forgot to make sure that was behind, so here we go. Oh my goodness. There we go. Wrap behind. making sure that you also have a loop between. Wrap behind. Wrap behind. Pull through. Just continue to do that all the way across your fabric. Oh my goodness. There we go. So you can see I've got a series of loops in the loops. Now when you're done, it will end up like this. So I've worked from the left to the right, and I've got all of my loops in. You could do another row if you want to. You do not have to. So the next step is to then sew your finger loop braid to your needle lace. This finger loop braid is just a broad lace of 5 loops, and in the extant pieces, the flat side is actually facing outward, and the curved side is facing toward the wearer. So obviously this is a little short, that's okay. And what you're going to do is take your working thread that you just used to make your loops, and you're going to find the edge of the finger loop braid and just pull through. And you're basically just whip stitching through the loops onto the edge of the finger loop braid. You could do 2 stitches if you wanted to, but you don't really need to. Oop, that caught the edge. There we go. So you can see that I have caught the loops in with just these simple whip stitches. Like that. Now this space is a little big, so I am going to do 2 stitches in this one. Did I do this one? No. Guess I just did 3 stitches. Oh. And that is as simple as that. You just continue to whip stitch your needle lace and your finger loop braid together. And I have a finished piece of headwear with that edge, very simple edge, whip stitched onto the finger loop braid. So this is the inside hemmed and the outside. And when you go across and you're spanning the sprang, it gets a little interesting in there, trying to get the sprang loops distributed properly. But when you finish off, you can just whip stitch down the ends of your finger loop braid. You don't have to. You can leave the loops just like the extant one. So I hope you have enjoyed this demonstration, and if you have any questions, feel free to message me.